Yeah.
And every year I used to put the new coat of silver paint on them. And I did a lot of work on her. I would
Remember her woodwork was always so white.
The woodwork was white and the floors were shellac.
Real smooth.
Well, in them days they only used the high gloss enamel. They didn't have what they call semi-gloss, and it was strictly just high gloss. Then they came out with the semi-gloss, and that wasn't not until after the war. But before that, that's the only kind of paint you can get was high gloss enamel, and it always had to be white.
So, who was the quietest person in the family?
Me.
You were the quietest? Even among the girls?
I was the quietest. I was the quietest.
Girls were never quiet, were they?
Not Rose.
Was Mary?
Well, if you got Mary started, then she would blast you, and today she's worse.
Well, I just meant just quiet.
I was the
Fewest
quiet.
words.
I was
Fewest words.
Now, Scotty and I, we used to play in the wintertime, it was too cold to go out after dinner. But we had that large dining room, and we had rugs on the floor, so we put two circles, and we used to shoot marbles. Did you ever shoot marbles?
No, that was before my time.
Tell me, you had to have good fingers.
Sam, I know Sam and them shot.
And you go, this way.
We always used to have a special marble, we used to call it the shooter. And we hold on to that. And Scotty was good out there. And, oh, he must have had 1,000 marbles. I know, I remember one time, the bag broke with all them marbles and down the steps in the living room, dining room. We all had to go around looking for marbles because, you could walk with one of them, break your neck. And he always had a lot of marbles. I was the type that I used to like to save cards, like they call baseball cards today. Oh, I had hundreds of them. Comic books. I used to love to read comic books. And I had hundreds of them. I don't know what happened to them. I held on to them, I kept them. And when I got married, I thought, well, let me see if I got them books down here. I couldn't find them. I don't know what happened to them.
Probably be worth a fortune today, wouldn't
Oh,
they?
they would, yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine the baseball cards, what they'd be
Did your
worth?
parents ever get to go back to Italy to see their families?
No. I think it was Sammy. No, my mother never wanted to go back. She didn't want to have anything to do with the ocean. And it didn't interest because she says, you'll never get me on that water again. Because when she came over, she was definitely sick. And she had Minnie, she was a few years old, and Nick was just a newborn baby, 5 months, 6 months, something like that. So it was a handicap. I mean, she had to hold the baby, keep an eye on Minnie, because she was at that age running around. So, on a ship, you're thinking one thing, she could run over the side. And she'd come over in the wintertime when the ocean was rough. But you had to come when your time was full. Because if you didn't, then you don't come anymore. So
But Grandpa came over without her at one point, and then
he
went
came
back.
over here about 3 or 4 times before he decided to really stay. Now,
And was he married to her at those times when he came
the
over?
first couple times, I don't think he was. And I think the third time he came over, he was married, and he went back to ask her to come, and she didn't want to leave with him. He says, well, I'm not staying here. She says, well, do what you want. You want to live in Italy, America, go ahead. So he says, well, that's it. I don't want no parts of Italy. There's no future for me here. So he came over. And then I think it was, the baby was just born. Nick was born. Then she made up her mind to come.
So,
Because, I think she made up her mind right away because there was her name was available to come across. That's what it was.
and you had to decide now.
And my father had leftover money, to get the ticket. And that's happened. You know how much it cost to come across? $50.
Which was a lot of money then, though.
I guess.
Yeah, probably was.
Now, she was close with her family.
My mother?
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. She
And did
raised
she-
their family. She was the oldest. She took care of all the business, the farm,
Yeah.
and the kids.
And did she continue to communicate with them after she
Oh
came
yeah,
here?
yeah.
And
See,
how
she
that-
had a sister over there named Rose, and she had gone to school, and she was writing all the time. Then my cousins, we had cousins here, my mother's sister, and their children. So their father, he was a mean, strict guy.
What was their name?
LaPresta.
Are they still around?
Tony LaPresta, was he related to her?
Tony who?
Tony LaPresta. From West Philadelphia.
No,
The old
no,
man with the
no, no.
corkscrew
No,
mustache.
I know who you mean. No, he was a nice man. That guy, I remember him.
He was a dirty old man.
Well, he was a
So do
dirty
you
old
still
man.
know
He
that
was a
family?
dirty old man.
Lou Preston? Yeah, my cousin Grace died just before your mother. I think the same year as your mother. Well, their father took them back to Italy. And that's how we knew about the farm and all, because then they came back. And Grace, Sarah, Nancy, and Florence. That's the four girls. And the boy, they had a boy, and what the heck was his name? Sam. His name was Sam. Now, I don't think he was in Italy. I think he was born here when they came back. But the girls were telling us that it's beautiful. The farm was pretty. The people were nice. And they were always asking for my mother. So they stayed a few years, but then they came back because there was no future there. Now, I used to go down and take care of my father, you know, once, twice a week, whatever. I used to cut his hair, shaving. And Sammy says he didn't say this. But my father says, your brother says, he wants to take me back to Italy for a tour. But he would pay the expense and go back for a tour of Italy. He says, and my father says, I told your brother, I spit on that country. Didn't do me any good. If I wanted to stay there, if I wanted to go back and visit the country, I would have stayed there. There's no future for me. See, he was mad because his stepfather took him out of school.
So he didn't have contact with his family.
My
once he
father
left.
had no time. They all were over here. They all came here.
Now, who were they?
They lived in Milwaukee. That was his sister, his brother-in-law, and the stepfather.
Did he have contact with them?
That's the story. Back in 1938, his brother-in-law, his sister was married to his brother-in-law, and their two daughters, Tom and Jenny. They were school teachers. The four of them, was it the two daughters, Tom, that's three, the four of them came to Philadelphia.
Now, was there a Mike in that family that would have been maybe, he'd be in his 50s now?
Mike? I don't think there was a Mike in that family.
Because we had a visit from somebody from Milwaukee when we lived on Chancellor Street.
Oh, that was Eugene. I was there when he came. He was in the Secret Service then.
From Milwaukee.
The Army, what did they call the Army Secret Service?
The OSS?
No, there was another name
I
there.
don't know.
He was there on Chancellor Street, and I don't know where he had.
He's whose son?
That's my sister Minnie's son.
Oh, okay. That's not
No,
part of the
Magro.
cousin's family. That's
Eugene
not
is
part
not
of.
Magro,
It's Maine.
it's Maine.
Maine.
Yeah, that's not part of. I was thinking that he was maybe from Grandpop's brothers or
Oh
sisters.
no, that was my father's daughter's son
But now, didn't you have cousins
in Cleveland.
that... You didn't have any cousins that lived in Philadelphia area at all?
Yeah, Mike. I just said Florence, Nancy.
Preston's.
Their last name
No,
was
I mean,
LaPresta.
no Magros, though.
No.
No, they're Magros.
But there
Now,
are
they
Negroes
have...
in Milwaukee that are cousins of yours.
Just
Just my father's sister
and her husband.
and her husband and their two children. Now, I
No
don't think-
Negroes then.
I don't know if they were Magro. How could they be Magro?
No,
Because
it's a
She's
she.
a Negro.
who? The sister, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
She was
married.
Negro, but her married name wasn't
No.
Negro.
No.
Well, anyway, they came to Philadelphia, their main reason was to have my father go back to Milwaukee to see his stepfather. He was 90-some years old at that time. So he must have been talking to my father, his brother-in-law. And I thought my father must have said, no, I don't want to go. But he was happy to have him there with his sister and their 2 children. My father really, he bent over backwards to show them all they could, and I did all I could. I took them down, showed them the Betsy Ross house, the Independence Hall, took them out to Valley Forge, showed them the battlefield and all that stuff. I did all I could. I took a few days off from work, and it was in the summertime, the time we were always busy with the ice business. Well, anyway, this fellow, my father's brother, which is supposed to be my uncle, he said to me, he says, I want to get out South Philadelphia, so I want to pick up something. Would you take me down? I says, yeah, I'll take you. So I says, is my father coming? Oh, no, he says, I want to go alone. He says, just you and me. I said, okay, we went to South Philadelphia, and he picked up a few things. And then he said to me, he says, you know, I really didn't come down here to buy this stuff. He says, I came down here to have a talk with you. He said, I know your father's close to you, he listens to you. He says, I want you to bring your father to Milwaukee to see his stepfather. He says, I think that's a good idea. Oh, I says, that sounds good. Now, I didn't know there was any friction between my father and his stepfather. I didn't know. So, I said, yeah, I says, I'll talk to my dad. I said, we got a good car here. The car wasn't even a year old yet. I said, geez, we can make that trip in no time. So he says, yeah, you talk to him. But he says, wait till after I leave. So I'm gonna leave.
You didn't also know that he had already talked to your father.
I didn't know that. So after they left, you know, then I said to my father, I says, geez, you know, I says, Uncle Tony says we should take a trip out there, and this way you can see your stepfather. And oh, man, that's all I had to say. It was like the atomic bomb just dropped between us. He was condemning his brother. That's speed, this thing, you know, in a tank. But I says, wait a minute. I says, I'm not getting any heads or tails. I said, what's this all about? Then he told me. But before that, I didn't know about him taking him out of school, and he didn't want to get out of school, and that's when my father left home and living in caves and here wherever he could. He says, if I ever see that guy, I'll spit in his face. I don't care if he's sick or what he is. Because what he did to me, he says he took away from me the most precious thing anybody could have. He says, and I wanted that, and he says, my mother wanted to keep me in school, but he took me out. Now, he was in Milwaukee. He died. They sent letters and all.
Now, Grandpa's mother died over in Italy? And was Grandpa close to Grandma's family?
Oh, yeah, he was well liked. My mother's side built the home for him. Now, your brother Frankie was there, wasn't it, Frankie?
I thought they were.
Yeah, that's what I always
What's
understood.
that?
Was where? Over in Italy?
Yeah, I think.
Well, he may have been, because he was on the med cruise when he was in the Marines.
Yeah, because he was
may have
telling
been
me
him
he
or
went
Bucky.
down there, and he was the first one that saw the house, and my nephew Nicky, he went there and he saw the same house that Frankie was talking about. And I was talking to Nicky a couple of years ago, and he says, it's beautiful, the farm still looks good.
And you still own it? It's all still in the
Well, it's in the Macito family
Macito
because
family.
that's down the line now. So it's down the line. And there were some people there that remember, old people that remember my father and all that. But yes, there's people there that
And
remember
so
them.
Macitos are still our family.
Oh yeah, there's bits.
Yeah?
Sure. Because my mother's sister had children, and they had children, and then they had children, so the name carries
And
on.
none of you children ever went back to visit?
No, I know that.
Nicky or anybody never went
Squirty
back?
always used to say that he'd like to go someday.
Well,
Years ago.
when I was over there, I thought I was going to get the chance to go to Italy, but they wouldn't give me the leave to go there.
So then your father got along with your mother's family.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know where we got that they didn't.
No, they got along because my might have been some friction of him always running around. I think what they had against him was he didn't want to stay there. That was the only thing. Because working there and getting no money, there's no future. He got tired of living like that, bartering. That's well, you call it bartering, you know. I work for you and you give me a place to live. Well, he didn't want that. He wanted to get ahead. Now, if there was any friction, that could have been the only friction I could think of. Was, but,
And your grandfather didn't have any other family here besides the sister?
no.
There was no other brother Magros?
No. My father was the only son. Was the only Magro. And his
So then
sister-
any Magros that are over here would not be related to him.
No, it was only him and his sister. They were the only
Because
two
the
kids in
reason
the
I'm
family.
asking,
There are some Magros.
up in,
Oh, there's a lot of Magros.
up in, up on the boulevard in Northeast Philadelphia, they have, what's the name of it, Casa del Rosa or something like that, this restaurant. Anyway, the proprietor is an Antonio Magro and his wife. Well, Bucky stopped in when he saw this. You know, he stopped in, and it has a picture of him, the husband, and the wife. She was there that day, the wife. As a matter of fact, Bucky asked to speak with her, and she come over, and she said that she married her husband over here, but he and his family were from Sicily. And
Well, there could have been some cousins.
that's what I was wondering, was there any cousins or anything
That don't strike the
that he
bell.
had?
That's because every time
Because-
I talk to him, he says all he had was his sister and himself.
Well, what about his father? Did his father have brothers and brothers?
That,
Did he have uncles, your father?
I'm sure he had somebody, but he never talked about anything
It's
like
possible.
Because that's what they said. This here, they said.
that. Well, you see,
And
that,
she said, Bucky said, looking at him up at the picture, on the picture.
well, see,
She
let
said
me
he
tell you
looked like the
something else.
Magros. He looked just like
People
the Magros.
adopted their names. They adopted their names. That was the rule of Italy.
From their
Yeah,
type of work.
he was saying yesterday that it might even be that we're not even Italian. Maybe.
Well, I didn't put it that way. I'm saying what my sister says. She checked on my father's family tree, and she went back great grandfather. I don't know how many greats she went back, and the father was French, and the wife was Irish, and her name was Maurice. And when Italy took over Sicily, and they were all told if you want to become Italians, you have to adopt Italian name. Now that's how it could be more than one Magro, could be. Because if you look in the book,
Yeah.
you see a lot of Angelos, you see a lot
Of
of...
course, there must have been, somewhere along the line, must have been marrying Italians, must have been marrying Sicilian people, because we sure don't look anything but
French
Sicilian.
or Irish, right?
I mean, the Magro family looks
you could
Italian.
pass for French.
Well, I have Irish in me. We know
Right,
that.
now.
Yeah.
We do.
Your family
But your
looks
family-
Italian.
Yeah.
And therefore, through the
Nothing-
generations, they were marrying Sicilians.
And yeah, that's how it had to be.
Even though your great-great-great-great-grandfather and grandmother
Saying
were
that like
French
5
and
generations
Irish.
Yeah.
back, Minnie traced it back, and
But after
the
that,
father,
they
5
were
generations
probably
back, was French, and the
Sicilians
mother
that they
was
were
Irish.
marrying.
But they lived
But
in
the children of
Sicily.
that
And when Italy took over
was
control
Well,
of
see,
Sicily, they
Sicily
passed a law.
was
Everyone
invaded
had to
by
adopt Italian names
Greeks,
or
was
leave
invaded
the
by the Moors, was invaded by the French, and the Sicilian,
That's right, they were always fighting there,
Always
down there,
fighting
weren't
there.
Well,
So
Sicily
you
was
had
ruled
different-
by different foreign governments for
they? All
200
different
years
foreign
That's right.
governments.
until Italy took over.
Yeah, that's it. And
That's how the mafia
the
was.
Greeks and the Spaniards had a lot of say in there. And if you look at a lot of the Sicilians, they do look like Greeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very strong Greek.
And then if you look at a lot of the names, you can see they relate to Spaniard names.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find anything about your name? Was it Magra over there, or was it something different?
Well, Sammy inquired, and when he got the papers back, it was spelled M-A-U-R-O, something like that. But my father never pronounced it Negro. Never.
What did he say?
Said the way it's supposed to be, Mairo, but that means
Mairo.
thin and clean.
I wonder how you've never seen like his original birth
My
certificate.
father was a very skinny man when he was young.
But you never saw his birth certificate.
Not his, no. Well, if I did see it, would be that name.
How do you spell
How
it?
would you spell it?
I think it's M-A-U-R-O. Now, Sammy looked into it. Now, don't ask me how it got to be M-A-G-R-O.
Well, that's
Mario.
possible that it happened through Ellis Island.
Yeah. Maybe
I have
you,
a friend
maybe
whose
some.
father showed me his birth certificate from Ireland. His name was definitely McQuigod. But by the time he got through Ellis Island, they changed it to McCullough.
Could be that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They look at it, they don't know how to pronounce a foreign name, even though they had the document, they still changed his
And they
name.
changed.
And if he didn't have papers, I don't know if Grandpa had papers when he came over, but if he didn't have papers, whatever he said,
But
with his
they wrote it
accent,
down their way.
they'd make the best out of it and write
Yeah,
something
they
down.
write it the way they thought it sounded.
I mean, because they would have just said, oh, he's a stupid, ignorant,
Yeah, you're right there.
because he couldn't speak English.
Yeah, that could be that way. But see, when we were young, we were stupid. We should have looked into our things when we were real young. And the biggest mistake we made was giving up the language.
Mm.
That was the biggest mistake.
Now, do you speak much Italian at all anymore?
Now, very.
Do
I'll
you
listen.
understand it?
Oh yes, I could understand it, but
Well, he said Dad and Grandpa used to speak Italian all the time.
Oh yeah, very
But
fluently.
Dad will tell you himself, he doesn't speak hardly any anymore.
Yeah.
He lost it.
Well,
now,
that's like I was asking
As well as
him.
he spoke it. he
when I
lost
was
And
growing
I
up,
spoke it fluently.
naturally I was
at 3 or
younger
4
than your
years old,
father
5
and
years
younger
old.
than Louis. They spoke very good Italian. I think your father used to read Italian too. I'm pretty sure he did. Sammy was bright in school. There was one particular teacher who took a lot of interest in Sammy.
Miss Engels, was it?
Oh, I don't remember her name now.
It was a teacher he always used to talk about. I think it was Miss Engels.
No, that wasn't her. I'm trying to think of it. I know who the teacher was. And
He'd come up to school, I know, when I was in school. And
oh, I
see
know
her.
who you're talking about,
To
Miss
see her.
Haynes.
Was Miss
She
Haynes.
was a very attractive woman.
But he'd come up to see her. I did something I thought I was going to get killed for when I got home. As a matter of fact, I stayed out until dark, which I'm lucky I didn't get the heck beat out of me just for staying out until dark. He came there to see this teacher. Well, I come out of my class, and there's my father in the hallway. He never came to school, right? And I go up there, hi, Dad. Howdy, you know. He was real happy because he's talking to this school teacher, right?
Sure.
And so anyhow, I take and I grab the opportunity. Can I have a nickel, Dad? Right? And he's not going to say no in front of this teacher. So he reaches in, gives me a nickel. I go and it's lunchtime and I spend the nickel. And I'm thinking to myself, why did I do that? I'm going to get killed when I get home. He's going to grab a hold of me when I walk in that door. I know what he's going to say. You think you're pretty smart, don't you? In front of the teacher, you asked me for money. 'Cause we never asked him for money. I mean, we were forbidden to ever do that. To ask anybody for money.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, I'm coming home from school, and I'm so darn scared because I'm afraid to go home and face him. And it's starting to get dark, which wasn't real late because it was winter time, school was in.
Yeah.
But it was like 4 o'clock or so. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to get killed. I'm going to get killed for sure because it's dark now. I walked in, he never said one word to me. from that day till this, he never said one word about it, and I thought, boy, did I ever luck out.
At the risk of getting you in trouble,
Back then.
I'm gonna ask you, who do you think was the brightest?
I just said it, Samuel.
Think he was the brightest in the family?
In school, yeah, well, up until, well, my sister Rose was very bright.
Who went the furthest in school?
I think my sister Rose,
She graduate?
not high school.
My father went to about 8th grade.
Ninth,
9th grade.
Yeah.
ninth grade.
Ninth.
How far did you go?
Nice.
That was common in those days.
Yeah, well, common was
16.
6th grade.
I think my mother only went to about 6th.
So your father was a very
Went same as Daddy.
interested in education. He
Oh,
really
he
got-
loved-
About the
He
same
loved
year.
Did they meet in school?
education,
No, but they knew one another
and
in
he was
school.
annoyed that we didn't
I don't know
continue
whether they
on in
met in
school, but he
school.
knew, you know, financial problems. You know, you couldn't get nice looking
Oh
clothes.
yeah, Grandpa wouldn't have been happy about that either, would he?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, when Anthony, my brother Nick's son, went to college and all, well, actually, that's the first of the neighborhoods that went to college. Oh, the old man was, oh boy.
Now, is he the one that was involved with Murder, She Wrote?
No, he's not involved with it, but he's concerned that he has the contract about the color.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Murder.
that's right.
He did, yeah. What's he doing now, do you know?
He's in everything. Computers, these things.
Is he still doing Hollywood work?
Well, the last time I talked to him, he was had the film contract, the coloring contract, and what the hell else did he have? Something about the voice track, you know, that makes the voice clear and everything. And I don't know if he still has it, but
Does he live out there?
he lives in Chicago, suburbs of Chicago.
Now his daughter live out there
His whole family's out there.
in California?
No, in Chicago.
Oh. Oh, I thought his
His
daughter was
office is
living
in-
Chicago.
No, his office is in Chicago, but he lives in the suburbs of Chicago.
I keep telling Kennedy, you ought to get a hold of him and write to him. Kennedy graduated in Mass Communications major. And that's what he'd really like to be doing, but what he's doing now is what he can get, which is selling cruises. But because he's in a wheelchair, he can't get an interview for a job. I kept saying, you ought to write to your cousin. Maybe he can get you an interview. Maybe he knows somebody.
Nothing like trying.
I'm not, I never mean give your cousin a job because he's in a wheelchair, but
could
if
recommend.
he's got the talent, if you send your resume to him, and if he thinks he can recommend
You know what? When I was up in Connecticut about 4 years ago, he came there. His brother's, it was either his brother's daughter or son was getting married, and we had gone down to the place where you have lobster dinner and all that, and we're sitting there, and he's telling me. He says, he says, I miss Grandpa. He says, I think Grandpa gave me a good boost.